Hello, thank you for checking out Mr. West videos. And today I'm going over a quick little review for my class for a test they got coming up. So I'm going to cover a lot of different functions that deal with context. So here we go. So in this first question here, it's a multiple choice question where you have a multiple choice. And it's basically asking about this equation. And it says, what could the number 58 represent in that equation? So if you look at this equation, it's a y equals mx plus b with the mx here and the b part here. So the 58 is the y-intercept. So they basically are saying when x is 0, it's going to be 58 because that's the y-intercept. So if you come down here, and if you notice that the x is when the hours spent on homework, okay, and the y is the expected score, quiz score, then you can see that, hey, if you spent no time on homework, your quiz score would be a 58. So that one's C. Alright, let me take a look at another one. This is number 2 here. And this is essentially the same thing. It's multiple choice as well. But it deals with a graph. So in this question, it says, what does the slope of the line represent? So the slope is rise over run. And this is going up from 8 to 10, 25. That's 2 1/4 over 1, 2 1/4 over 1, 2 1/4 over 1. So it's going up 2.25. Okay, and the slope is the change in the height of the sunflower. So it started off at 8, and then it went to 10.25, and then 12.5, and so on. So the answer is going to be how much the sunflower grows in inches each week. That's what the slope represents. Alright, let's take a look at number 3. Number 3 is a table. And what you want to do is find the slope and the y-intercept. You want to find the slope by counting down how much is it going down. Okay, so that red part's not on the equation. The black part isn't either. But you know it goes down by 2 each time. Right? So that's your slope. So that's why you put that here. Okay, the y-intercept is whatever y is when x is 0. But we don't know what x is 0 until we count back 2. So since we count down 2, we count back 2, and 3 minus 2 is going to get us 1. So the y-intercept is positive 1, and that's how you do that. You can also use a number line to go from here and count back 2 if that helps. Alright, now in this question here, it's a similar question, but because the numbers are not consecutive, you have to find the slope by using the slope formula. You can use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or you can use the stack and subtract method, where I take this point here and stack it here, and then take this point and put it under there. And since these are both positive, you want to subtract, which means you change it from positive to negative. Minus and minus, and then -2 and -2 is -4, -12 and -4 is -16, and then you'll take the second one and put it over the top, and then simplify to get +4. Now once you find the slope, just like the previous problem, we found the slope. This is how much it goes up each time if it was consecutive. What you want to do now is find the y-intercept, and you do that by taking your formula y equals mx plus b and filling in the y, the m, and the x. Okay, you get the m from the slope that you just found. You get the x and the y from any point you want to pick over here. And I picked 2 and 4. I put 4 in for y, put 2 in for x, and then just solve. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract 8 on both sides. 4 minus 8 is -4, so my y-intercept is -4. So my formula is y is equal to 4x minus 4. Alright, on number 5, we're looking at a word problem where it's we have to fill out the table and then just write the equation. So in the word problem, it's saying that they got a 20% left on their phone and it's going down by 4% each time. So you got 20% and you go down by 4 each time. And so you got 20 minus 16, 20 minus 4 is 16, 16 minus 4 is 12, and so on. Then you can write that as, okay, my slope is going down, so that's -4, and I began with 20, so I put 20. Or you could say, hey, I began with 20, it took away 4 each time, and that's how I got 4x. So it's a couple ways to look at that one, but that's how that problem is solved. Alright, now we're looking at 6 here. Alright, so this is a situation where they give you the table already, and what they want you to do is answer the question usually pertaining to the x or the y or the y-intercept or the slope. So the table below has the selected values and the linear relationship of t is c. Determine the one-time joining fee. So you need to understand that if we had a gym membership, you got the one-time joining fee plus how much you pay every month. So the one-time joining fee is the initial amount. So that's going to be your y-intercept. That's what we're looking for. So we want to know what would C be if it was at 0 months. Okay, so we're going to find it. We're going to stack them on top of each other, find the slope, plug the slope into the y equals mx plus b with one of the points, and then find the y-intercept. So when we stack it, on these, I'm not going to stack them directly on top of each other because it gives you extra negative numbers. So I'm going to take the second one and put it on top of the first one. So 5 and 300, I got that here. Then I got 3 and 220, I put that here. I subtract, I get 2 and 80, put the 80 on top of 2, divide, and I get 40. Now I'm going to take that 40 and plug it in here. And this is the formula that you write just without the y-intercept. Okay, so you got c is equal to 40t plus b. We don't know what that is. Okay, we got to find it. So you can find it by taking one of these points. I picked the 3 and 220. Plug in the 3 for t. Plug in the 220 for c. And then solve. 40 times 3 is 120. Subtract 120 on both sides. You get 100. So the y-intercept is b. That's 100. And that's the answer, 100. But if you look into the context of the problem, it's saying, hey, if it is 0, as far as the initial joining time for x, like no time as started, you plug in 0 for t. 0 times 40, it gives you 0. 0 plus 100 is 100, so it's the same thing here. 100 is your answer if you're asking for the y-intercept. Okay, now we're going to take a look at this last problem. This was asking for the x-intercept. What would y be when x gets to 0? So on these, it's going to be going down. Okay, so it's got to go down in order to get to 0. So this is another cell phone situation. They started off with, they showed different points here. So at 1 hour, they had 37.5. At 2.5 hours, 26.25. At 4 hours, 15. So you see it's going down, going down. So I'm going to stack my points on top of each other and find the slope. Now, with these, I try to avoid the decimal, so I'm going to leave this one out. And I'm also still going to put this one on top and then this one second. And then subtract so it can eliminate some of the negatives there. 4 minus 1 is 3. 15 minus 37.5 is negative 22.5. Put this number on top of the 3. Divide, and you get negative 7.5. Now I'm going to plug this in to my formula here, and I've got everything I need except the y-intercept. So I'm going to find the y-intercept. So I'm plugging in one of these points, 4 and 15. Plug in 4 here for t. 4 times negative 7.5 is negative 30. Add 30 on both sides. 15 plus 30 is 45. So the y-intercept is 45, so I can write the formula. Okay, the battery life is equal to negative 7.5 times however much time it is plus 45. Okay, now when would the battery life get 0? That's what we want to know. So I plug in 0 for the battery life and then solve the equation. I subtract 45 on both sides and then divide by negative 7.5, and that'll tell me in 6 hours, that's how long it will take for the battery life to get to 0. Okay, that's it. That is the review for upcoming tests. I want to thank you for checking out Mr. Ware's videos. Have a nice day.